County. Today I have with me Sheriff Lima with the Seminole County Sheriff's Office, Superintendent Walt Griffin with the Seminole County Public Schools, and Donna Walsh, Director of the Florida Department of Health, Seminole County. We have all been preparing over the last week for a Hurricane Dorian. Hurricane Dorian looks to be a very catastrophic type of event, Category 4 hurricane hitting the coast and then moving up right now up the coast of Florida, which could be the worst case scenario for Seminole County. The one good thing, of course, is the track has moved a little bit to the south, so that's beneficial, of course, for us here in Seminole County, but not to the folks in our southern region of our state. We are concerned here in Seminole County about the flood. We were in action stage already at the St. Johns River. We got a lot of rain over the last few months, and our lake levels are very high. So due to that, we opened up sandbag locations at multiple locations across the county a couple days ago, and we will continue that operation until it's unsafe to do so. Right now, sandbag locations are operational from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. in most of those locations, and you can get a list of those locations by going to our preparedness website at seminolecountyfl.gov/Dorian or our preparedness website, prepareseminole.org. This is the opportunity now to get those last emergency disaster kit items, and we want you to go ahead and do that. We have heard from multiple locations that supplies are starting to get low. Gas stations are starting to run out of gas, and we've been on the phone with the Florida State Division of Emergency Management to identify fuel quantities and how fuel is being delivered. They have assured us that they are trying to expedite with the private industry getting fuel into the area. But there may be some long lines, so patience is very important in these areas. We have been talking about shelters and the shelter openings, and we will do it when it is safe to do so. So we are looking to open up shelters at the earliest would be Sunday morning. This will give the community opportunity to get to the shelter, to get settled before tropical storm force winds. Those times may be shifted slightly, and that will be, of course, based on the hurricane forecast and when tropical storm force winds will hit our area. We've been working very closely with the school board to make sure that those schools are ready and that they are prepared, and tomorrow we'll be moving some equipment and setting up the shelters for an opening on Sunday if the track holds consistent. With an event like this, a Category 4 hurricane hitting the state of Florida, and then, of course, starting to move up the state and even being a hurricane here in Seminole County, curfews may be necessary. We're working very closely with the Sheriff's Office if we have to enact curfews. The curfews would be enacted after consultation, would be when it's unsafe to be out on the roads. That would be when tropical storm force winds, sustained tropical storm force winds, hit our community until it is safe to travel on the road after the storm. With a Category 1 storm here in Seminole County, we did not experience sustained Category 1 hurricane strength during Irma. It was only tropical storm force winds. So that is what you should expect after. There will be power outage, there will be lines on the road, and that is why a curfew may be needed. It is important also to take this opportunity to prepare around the home. Anything that could be picked up, used as debris from these heavy winds, now is the time to start moving those items inside, maybe in a garage or into safety. With that, I'd like to turn it over to Sheriff Lima for some comments.
Thank you, Alan, and thank you for being here. I will tell you, we've had a lot of experience with preparing for storms like this, and over the next several days, you'll see a lot of press conferences just like this, and you'll find that when you look around the state, there's going to be counties and jurisdictions. Most of us are going to be saying something very, very similar. But I know that our collaboration with the folks that are up here in our cities the Board of County Commissioners, our school board, our EMS personnel will allow us to be prepared to address this emergency throughout the county and to help our neighboring counties in the contiguous Central Florida area. At this time, it's important for you to be prepared at home as well. When we look at situations like this, we find that sometimes people wait until the last moment to make determination on whether or not they want to evacuate. The last thing we want to do is to have people on the road at that last moment where it's dangerous. So talk to your family, make those plans ahead of time, and make sure that you're doing all that you can. We also want people to be patient, and I know it can be a little bit stressful when you're in long lines for gas and you're trying to get those generator purchases in the local stores, but be as courteous as you can and be as patient as you can. And some of the things that we've seen cause disturbances are things that we can completely control. So as you're waiting in that long line for gas, or if you're in that last grocery store, looking at that last pallet of water, know that we're going to do all that we can to make sure that those supplies are replenished and they can get in your hands. In the event of power outage, and it's very likely that there will be significant power outage in the county, I want to remind people that if you do approach an intersection that has no signal, you treat that intersection like a four-way stop. Now in Seminole, we are well equipped with battery backup and generator backup, so most of those major intersections are likely to have lights, but in some cases the lights are completely ripped down from the intersection. In the event that that happens, make sure you're driving slowly. You stop at that intersection, you look at and treat it as a four-way stop if that happens. Speaking of generators, when we set generators up at these locations to run lights, don't be the one that tries to make a name for yourself by trying to steal one of our generators. I promise you I will embarrass you publicly by making an arrest and doing all that we can to ensure that you will receive enhanced penalties for doing that. Last storm that we had with Irma, we had 6 generators that were stolen. Trust me, we have a focused concentration on that. It not only is a theft, but it puts people at risk and harm if those generators are gone. And that's why we're taking a very aggressive stance with monitoring and tracking that. Inevitably, somebody will try to do that. Please don't do that if you're listening. Flooding is something that we'll talk about over the coming days, and here at the Sheriff's Office we have specialty vehicles that will allow us to get into flooded areas and will actually allow us to respond to situations when the winds are sustained more than 45 miles per hour. Now, a lot of times people have hurricanes, and sometimes the lightheartedness say they're going to have a hurricane party. I would really, really caution you, if you're going to be indulging in adult beverages and all of that, you never want to lose your normal faculties when it comes to a crisis situation, because you never know how you would need to respond if something devastating ever occurred at your home or anywhere else. So please be guarded as you think about those things. Second, I want you to think about the first responders that may potentially have to respond out to render you aid and or assistance. We will make decisions based on a case-by-case basis once the winds are sustained more than 45 miles per hour, but we do have specialty vehicles that will help us get into those areas and respond in heavy wind situations. Inevitably, we'll find people become injured when these situations happen because the roads are soft, and soft roads and puddles of water sometimes means holes in the roadway. So we want people to be very, very cautious with that. Power lines that are down that may occur on these situations inevitably causes problems across the state. Stay away from any lines that look like they potentially could be power lines that are down. If you are not familiar with the use of chainsaws and these types of things, don't go out and injure yourself by trying to take those things on right now. And definitely watch out for those trees. I mean, we see a lot of trees that fall down, and the last thing we want is somebody be hurt or killed as a result of a tree falling. If you are considering moving to a shelter, I assure you that through our partnership with Superintendent Walt Griffin and his team, these shelters are safe. There's deputy sheriffs that are assigned at every one of the shelters, and we make sure that our deputies are there and they're staffing, and they're around the clock 24 hours a day. So if there's any concerns about whether or not it would be safe to go to a shelter, go to a shelter. We have unbelievable staff right there, and the accommodations are just absolutely as pleasant as they can possibly be in a shelter type of situation. We at least know that you will definitely be safe if you're there. The Attorney General has pushed out price gouging, and I want people to be mindful of this. And the Attorney General has pushed out 866-9-NO-SCAM, or on your mobile phone you can download the app No Scam. And if people are price gouging, we want to know about that so we can take action and report that information and move forward. But again, we are absolutely prepared here in Seminole County. We will work with our contiguous partners in the Central Florida region, and now it's time for you and your families to be prepared as we face the very changing dynamic of this storm as it comes up through the middle of the state. Thank you.
All right, Superintendent Griffin.
Okay. Thank you, Sheriff. Good afternoon, everybody. First reminder to all of our Seminole County Public School families, please make sure your Skyward information is updated. That is how we use our all-call system and our email to you. So it's very important. If you want to hear from us, update that Skyward information. Seminole County Public Schools will be closed on Tuesday, September 3rd. And in addition, we are canceling both our board meeting and our budget hearing, which were scheduled for September 3rd. This evening, all activities are going as planned. However, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, everything is canceled. All athletic events, all extracurricular activities, all facility rentals. Seminole County Public Schools will be shut down Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. We will be watching the weather very, very closely. We work very closely with the Emergency Operations Center. If we have to make future school closing decisions, we'll do so as early as possible, but it's way too early for us to close beyond Tuesday at this time. Thank you.
Director.
Good afternoon. As was mentioned already, this is the time to implement your family and safety plans. You know, as a reminder, please have plans in place in the event that you or your loved ones are separated so that you have contact information or a safe place to meet. Just want to remind you, too, that for those with special needs, part of the shelters that are offered are 3 special needs shelters. That further information will be available to you in which elementary schools that those are. But you can, if you have not already, pre-register for those shelters. In the event that you haven't registered and the storm is upon us, please come to those shelters. We will accommodate. When you do arrive, because of the fact that you may have special needs, please also make sure to bring your medications with you. If you're on oxygen, your oxygen concentrators or oxygen tanks. We do have medical supplies available at the shelters, but they are limited. So we ask that you bring what you need with you. We also have cots at the shelters. So if you, for comfort, want to bring your own pillows and blankets and so forth, please do. The caregiver should accompany the person with the special needs at the shelters, and there'll be accommodations for the caregiver as well. As was mentioned earlier, again, you know, food is provided at these shelters. They make it as much of a pleasant experience as possible. If there's a need beyond what we have there, we do have information available and resources available to us to bring those special needs items to you. So also want to remind you that in the event that we have power outages, food safety is very important, guys. You know, make sure that your refrigerated items, if the power goes out for hours, please do not take a risk in trying to eat those refrigerated items. Have your non-perishable goods available to you. If you haven't already gone out to purchase those, this would be a good time to do that. And then the other is make sure you have plenty of fluids. Dehydration oftentimes happens when people are stressed and active and trying to get their homes prepared. 1 gallon of water per person per day for cooking, drinking, and personal hygiene is what's recommended, so that kind of gives you a gauge of how much you should have at the home. Also of consideration, because we are expecting increased water here as a result of the storm, that also increases activity for mosquitoes, and mosquitoes can carry carry infections or diseases. So be precautious about that as well. If you are out and about, as you're cleaning up debris in your homes and whatnot, as Sheriff mentioned, be careful when doing that, of course, but also protect yourself from mosquito bites and so forth. If you have any questions, any medical questions, the health department staff will be staffing the special needs shelters. We are there today. Monday, holiday, we would normally be closed. We are closed at the health department. We'll be in shelters. Tuesday, we'll most likely still be in shelters. But if you need any health department services, please don't hesitate to call the Citizens Information Line at 407-665-0000. There is a health department representative at the health and medical desk, and we will definitely provide those services that you may need in the event that you need them when we're closed. So that's all the information I have.
Thank you and good afternoon. I just want to say our team and our partnerships really have started early. We've been preparing for this storm all week. Everybody has experience here. We know what we're doing, and it's really amazing to see how ready we are a few days in advance of this storm. I've heard a lot of comments, and I know up in the Northwest Corridor particularly, we've seen a huge number of snake activity, poisonous snakes. The ground is already saturated. Snakes are up closer to your home, so as you do start to clean up, please be careful and be aware of some of the snake activity that's going on out there. We hope that you are prepared. In order to stay informed, though, I want to give you some information on that. You can sign up for text alerts by texting the word Dorian, D-O-R-I-A-N, to 888-777. You can also, as long as you have the ability to access a website, go to www.seminolecountyfl.gov/Dorian for up-to-date storm information. And also our Citizen Information Line in the Emergency Operations Center is 407-665-0000 for storm-related activity. We do hope that you will heed the warning, take cover, take care, prepare, and protect your family. God bless Seminole County. Thank you.
We'll take a couple questions if anyone has any questions. Yes.
Alan, what are the big areas you guys are worried about with flooding in the after it's all done?
Sure. So clearly along the St. Johns River and the Wekiva Basin, the Wekiva Basin has flooded in the past, and right now it is high. The St. Johns River is already at what we call action stage at Lake Harney. Of course, the St. Johns is like the Nile of North America, so it moves north. Our friends up in Astor, Lake County, is also having to deal with some flooding issues up there. So all along the St. Johns River, and then any tributaries that move into the St. Johns River are already pretty high, so we're monitoring those very closely. We have some lake levels that are pretty high as well as some retention ponds that are pretty full just because of the rain over the last couple months. We're not where we were in Irma, where we had a little bit of capacity. We don't have much capacity at all, and based on the current forecast, it looks like we potentially could get a lot of rain here.
Are you worried that we'll see more flooding than what we did during Irma?
There is the potential that we could see it. Maybe not as the duration may not be as long. The difference is with Irma, there were additional tropical systems after that. We pray that this is the only tropical system that comes into our area this year. If we receive additional tropical storms or tropical even events, in Irma we didn't have another tropical storm, but we just had an event. If we have another tropical event, a depression or just a wave, it could bring additional rain, and that could just prolong how long we were flooded. In Irma, we were flooded up until December. So hopefully we're looking at about a 3 to 4 week period of flooding in the county based on the current forecast.
And we know the forecast is kind of a moving target because the storm has been, more than usual, unpredictable. Are we looking at double-digit rainfall, you think?
Yeah, so far what we heard is the highest we could receive is up to about 18 inches of rain. Those that were around during Tropical Storm Faye, that's about the amount of rain that we received there, which was historic flooding for us here. It was the highest flood in history in Seminole County. So we hope that does not continue. We hope that the storm will not stay in the area as long, maybe speed up, but right now that's what we have to plan for.
But when we talk to residents, I mean, they're always making comparisons, you know, Charlie to this, Irma to that, Matthew to this. So Faye, as far as rainfall, if your property was at risk during Faye, that's right now, the way things are sitting, it's a pretty good barometer.
Right. So, and I like the way that the question was, and if you wanted to do a barometer at this moment, at this current forecast, and as we've been saying, the forecast keeps changing all the time, but the amount of rain would be Tropical Storm Faye. The intensity based on the current forecast would be Charlie, which was a Category 1 when it came through Seminole County. The difference between Charlie and this storm is Charlie was moving fast. This will be moving at about 5 miles per hour.
I'm just curious to follow up. Is there any kind of plans that you can relocate water? I know we have sub pumps everywhere and all these constructions. Is there any even possibility of relocating water?
It's a great question. It's a question that's asked to us a lot, and unfortunately, there's just no place to pump it to. You know, if you pump it from one lake to another, then you're flooding someone in another lake. The river is already saturated, so really there's not much. We are working with the St. John's Water Management District. We're working with the Army Corps of Engineers, but there's really not a whole lot of place to move this water. Plus, we're looking at a historic storm surge, something that we haven't seen in a while on the coast. So not pumping it towards them is not going to be any help to them. So we have to be cognizant of what's going on regionally. All right, with that, then I would like to call Bob Cortez. He is going to give a recap, but in Spanish for our Spanish listeners.
Buenas tardes a todos. Aquí estamos en el Centro de Emergencia del Condado de Seminole. Estamos reunidos con el director de emergencia del Condado de Seminole, el señor Alan Harris. Estamos con nuestro alguacil, el alguacil sheriff Dennis Lima. Tenemos también al superintendente de escuela, Walt Griffin. Y también tenemos a la directora del Departamento de Salud de Seminole County, Donna Walsh, y la comisionada del Condado de Seminole, Brenda Carey. Estamos reunidos hablando de lo que va a estar sucediendo, velando el huracán Dorian viene hacia la Florida. Porque tenemos el río de St. John que está ya en su momento de acción, donde ha caído tanta lluvia y es una preocupación de que se pueda causar inundaciones a través de la región. Se le está diciendo a las personas que cojan suministros, que vayan a conseguir agua y comida de pote, gasolina y otras cosas que son necesarias ahora. No espere hasta el domingo que pase, porque se están acabando muchos de estos suministros donde se puedan conseguir. Hasta ahora hay largas líneas, pero personas están consiguiendo lo necesario. No esperen hasta el domingo. Albergues van a estar disponibles, posiblemente si sigue la trayectoria del huracán, los albergues van a estar disponibles después del domingo. Van a haber albergues que se van a estar abriendo a través del condado para las personas que necesiten. Si hay personas con las necesidades de emergencia ahora, pueden ir a la página www.seminolecountyfl.gov/Dorian y pueden ir también a la página de preparesemino.org para apuntarse, porque tienen que apuntarse para las capacidades de necesidades especiales. Entonces, también puede ser que con esta tormenta, si sigue la trayectoria, se implemente un toque de queda. El toque de queda sería para la seguridad de las personas que no puedan estar en la calle porque está muy peligroso estar, que estén pendientes para eso, que es una posibilidad de toque.